good morning, everyone. Gary Schick here. Welcome to the monthly Quest Partner Forum, joined by Adam Burke, Brian Perdue, and Ryan Howard from the partner team. We appreciate you making some time this morning to join our interactive partner session, which we put on monthly to share with our team. It is interactive. Adam, you can move to the housekeeping things here. On the next slide, we welcome participation. Cameras are completely optional also. We are recording this session, so certainly able to come back to our partner website and our partner portal afterwards to be able to get a recording of this, have others look at this. Thanks for those of you who are joining. Also, we do have a lovely e-gift card that we'll be sending along your way for a gift of your choosing, or to send along to a spouse or a loved one or somebody that you love on that side. So appreciate you being here this morning. Next slide, Adam. All right, so hey, on the agenda today, talk briefly about Quest. For those of you who are new to the organization, we'll just kind of skim over that. We are going to have I think it's going to be a great session today. Kind of people ask a lot of times, hey, where are we winning? I think folks know that we do a lot of different things in the channel out there, and that's one of the questions we get the most often is, hey, when should we think about you guys? Out of all the things you do, what are you known for? What are your specialties? We're going to go through some of those things today. I've got a great success story that we're going to share here. We're joined today on the Services Spotlight. We've got our VP of Marketing with us, Darcy Baker, who's got some very exciting things to share about our Sales Activation Tub. And then Adam's going to go through some hot topics, some resources, and calendar and whatnot. So looking forward to a great session today, and let's get it started. So, hey, for those of you new to Quest, who is Quest? What are we, what's our background? How do we get here? Real simply, since 1982, our go-to-market strategy is and always has been, how can we help? Back in 82, we were kind of an original trusted advisor, right? Hey, what are you trying to do, Mr. Customer? We were very vendor agnostic, platform agnostic. When people ask us what we sell, our response has really been, hey, what outcome are you trying to get to, and help them kind of get to that destination for what that outcome is. In 2015, the channel really started to get ramped up with the different suppliers and whatnot. Quest is still doing the same thing that we've been doing. We're a trusted advisor to customers and to the advisor community on that outcome-focused solution. And that's taken us all different solutions. You can kind of see the little eye chart at the bottom there for those of you old enough to remember the old OSI model. Customers, they need things all the way from layer one, physical infrastructure, up through the stack. So network, route switch, server storage, applications, professional services, security. All those are things that Quest has been doing for 40 plus years. And really the focus is on Quest Flex, again, on the lower right there, really a focus on the customer and their outcome. Hey, how do they want to consume the solution? We have people all the way on the left that are doing the traditional transaction. It's a VAR. They want to buy a product. They want to own it. They want to manage it. Still in our portfolio, we do a lot of business and VAR transaction through the channel of selling products, licensing, maintenance and support. Got a lot of solutions there. And then the middle boxes, we do quite a bit of that also. So we do a lot of work for customers that own their own infrastructure. They purchase it from someone else, but they need help managing it, whether it's in, whatever location that's in that we can help. And then there's customers don't want to own anything. They just want to use the cloud resources. So whether those are Quest assets at some of our data centers, could be at in the public clouds, a lot of different places right there. We do operate out of 3 network and security operations centers. One's in Northern California in Sacramento, the other over in Manila, Philippines, another over in Dublin, Ireland. Kind of that follow the sun model for that full stack, network and security operations center. We'd also have end user help desk with part of that, so that's kind of a different user set. We do co-location, cabinet, remote hands, lots of different services on that side. So we'd love to spend time, any individual time that you need. Adam's going to talk about it. We're going to do that a little bit later, and appreciate you joining us. So Adam, I know you've had a lot of coffee there. You're peeking ahead, and I'm not going to delay any longer. I'm going to turn over to Quest Vice President of Sales and Channel, Adam Burke. Take it away, sir.
No, thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. So again, thanks for everyone for hopping on today. We want to have these sessions every month, kind of as a open forum, sales call type of, hey, what's working, what's winning, what are we hearing from you guys? Putting together, additional content. Really excited to have Darcy on today, who's going to be talking through some of our go-to-market capabilities that we've put together for our partners. So real quick, as far as the insights, as far as what's working right now, a lot of the drivers that we get called into are around, there's these are the four top ones, right? So there's continues to be complexity that is basically outpacing internal skill sets. So, the business groups that we work with, they're moving, they're getting new systems, they're getting new platforms, new capabilities. They're having challenge there. The risk is continuing to grow, right? So it's a lot of different types of risks and threats coming at folks, just trying to keep up with that. If you're not on our security advisory notifications, please let your channel manager know. We'll get those risk notifications to you. Risk and cybersecurity risk, outages, impacts to business operations, fantastic catalysts and conversation starters with clients. It's changing every single day. Every single vendor is always dealing with that. Regulations are continuing to get pushed down on folks. So whether it's HIPAA or high tech or CMMC or any of the different privacy laws, a lot of different challenges there in the regulation space. And then, just alignment, like Gary was saying, hey, we're buying this, but what outcome are we trying to get to, right? So we have the short hit renewals, the VMware situation, the Microsoft, if you guys got our notification, the Microsoft licensing changes that are going to happen in July. That's going to be a real pain point for folks as they're dealing with those updates from the Microsoft world. A lot of people think the VMware situation is done. It's not done. It just gets put on pause for folks based on when they renew in those cycles. So that's a continuing conversation. So complexity, risk, regulation, and then aligning technology with the actual outcome are where we're typically seeing drivers come in. Customers are trying to reduce, that risk. They're trying to get predictable and optimize costs, and they're trying to basically secure something that they can build on confidently. We help with that risk reduction by going in there and evaluating what they have in place, giving them visibility, and then recommendations and management going forward. The predictable and optimized costs, a lot of us on here, about telecom expense management. That's kind of morphing into technology expense management. So licensing, overlapped capabilities, all those types of things where you can identify. Just had a great opportunity come in last week where we're helping an organization with 65 different SaaS applications, kind of trying to reduce that down and trying to get them, a little bit more of a consolidated tech stack with a trusted advisor. And then just, making sure that they're getting the most out of those investments. We hear this all the time. Hey, where do you guys do well? And what's your ICP as far as your, ideal customer profile? So this isn't the only group that we work with, but as far as where we do really well is in that middle market space, right? So 200 employees to about 1,500 employees is where we typically do a lot of our business. Our channel minimums, these are the minimums that, hey, if we're going to engage with a client, these are kind of the minimum starting blocks for them, right? So managed services, so monthly recurring charges or MRR, $500 a month is our minimum. $1,000 a month for professional services. So if we're going to do a project to get an engineer engaged, get someone on the horn to help them out with an upgrade, a migration, or anything like that, $1,000. And then gross profit and a lot of people tell me, hey, I didn't know you guys did that. I hear from the TSB engineering teams all the time. Will you guys just sell licensing? So yes, we are a managed service provider, but like Gary mentioned, we came from the value-added reseller space. We've been doing this for 40 plus years. If your clients just want to purchase a license or a certain hardware component, we do hundreds of millions of dollars in product every year. Now, if you have that baked in into your business model and you're comfortable with distribution and billing and you handle that piece and you just need help from our engineers or maybe day two management, totally cool. That's totally fine with us. We don't have a predefined notion of what that has to look like. But if you do need help sourcing product, our minimum is $1,000 in gross profit to get engaged there. So
Hey, Adam,
good set there.
yeah, if I can just chime in there on the channel minimums, we hear these are really super, super low. The reason that we have things this low is because we have such a huge, broad delivery portfolio. There are so many other things on the other side of that original transaction that are opportunities that they're really either minimum entry points, and Adam's going to talk about some of this today. The
Yep.
opportunities oftentimes on the other side of that original transaction, which is a huge, huge value add that Adam's going to touch on.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point. And just so we're growing with the different organizations, great growth coming in Q1, fantastic start to the year. And then our market segmentation, just so you guys know, we had a TSB partner kind of call out the idea that, hey, this is important to know. This is where we support clients. So financial services, healthcare, hospitality and government are some of our largest areas, right? So financial services, healthcare, and what you notice is these sectors have the most of these issues, right? This is where the complexity comes in oftentimes. So that's typically where we do a lot of our business, but very, very diversified across the stack in all sorts of different areas, helping different types of firms in different market segments. Now, to Gary's point, what I'd really, really love you guys to kind of take a look at is Q1. This is just a quick snapshot of what we're doing from a business. You guys are our partners. We want to be transparent with you about how we're doing. New awards, new contracts, just under $12 million in new bookings across 39 active partners in Q1. This excludes. This is just deals over $5,000 and excludes any renewals, right? So this is new business brought in. High five, good stuff, new bookings. This is fantastic. What I want to bring up is the partner initiated. This started with this $4.15 million and 35 new partners. It grew because of cross-sell and upsell, right? So the Quest generated new bookings with our partners. That's why the minimums, we're okay with a $500 a month MRR contract. We're okay with a $1,000 PS engagement or a small product purchase because we help upsell, cross-sell, and identify additional areas of opportunity with you in the account. So if we're selling product, if we're selling a piece of hardware with you, that day two support could be an option. That professional service could be an option. That application development could be an option. And we're seeing, about 75% of our revenue coming in from that upsell, cross-sell, and growth. And that's reflected directly in just our Q1 numbers, right? So last year in 2025, we averaged out about 65% cross-sell and upsell generated revenue. This year, we're coming in pretty hot with some big Quest generated opportunities for our partners. These are tagged to you. These are commissioned to you. This is what we're here to do, help you build your business. So great insight there. I don't know, Gary, was there anything else you wanted to kind of make sure to cover on that one or good on that?
No, I think the next slide is an awesome story. So I want to push the button, Adam, to get to the next slide. So I know it's an eye chart, but I'm excited. Let's do it.
Okay. So this is a mid-market account win with a trusted advisor, and it started off relatively small with a pretty simple engagement around security and a basic health check. But what it grew to is they're in the behavioral health world. They've been around since 2000s, 1999. 12 locations, about 200 users, and about 60 million in annual revenue, right? So as far as our ICP, they're growing. They're growing from 200 users, and they're continuing to buy firms and grow. They had an MSP that was kind of the incumbent supporting their network, and we started out helping them with some staffing, helping them with some platforms and some professional services. So month 0 here, we started out with a non-reoccurring charge, a professional services engagement. built some credibility with them, built some wins, understood their business, understood their outcome. And then we started layering in managed security as well as that PS team. Oftentimes people don't see professional services as a reoccurring charge. This client was growing and needed an operational, we call it our core PS team, to support their business and their growth from a technology standpoint. So you have the building block of managed services, which is, patching, updating, all these security services over here were layered in, right? So immutable storage, DNS security, awareness training, all those things are bundled in, but they also needed the team to help drive that, to help manage that, to help operate that within their organization. So you see this MRC here was around professional services. And as it keeps going, you move to video surveillance, you move to help desk, you move to, they had an existing Azure relationship with Microsoft that they wanted to bring under managed services to kind of get those costs under control, so that cost containment and optimization and making sure we're building on something that's repeatable and then backing that up. So you see that, $9,000 a month, 36-month contract just to manage and support their Azure tenant and act as that biller. And then all these classifications here, you see the PS, MS, PS, this is technology product, wireless upgrade for cabling and conference rooms. And so all of those different building blocks can get built onto this with you and for your clients. This is fantastic opportunity. We're in, month 9, 10 of a pretty significant engagement here, and it's already running up to about, $3.5 million in NRC charges, and about $1 million a year run rate, $81,000 MRC. And then there's kind of open and pending opportunities that we're continuing to work with too. So when we get involved in these accounts, and what I love about this, especially with talking to our trusted advisors, this is a 200 user account. There are 10,000 accounts of this type and size in the United States. So, the market for this, and for these types of operational support is massive. And a lot of people are looking for consolidated help with lots of different areas. And you guys, the opportunity is huge to get that going. So I don't know, Gary, if there's anything else you wanted to cover. I know this is one of your teams. So any
I
questions?
think when I look at, the sellers and the advisory community out there, so this transaction came at us originally as someone who needed an IT resource to help them. Their driver was for 20 years, they've been working off their local apps. They needed to really, for HIPAA, for internal operations, they needed to go to a cloud EMR to really consolidate things and get things going. The original ask of us was really, hey, we call them purple squirrels. I need a resource that can do, end user help desk, they can do printer support, they can do security, they can do all these different kind of things, right? Hard to find that in a person. When we got on the phone with them and really talked about, hey, what are you really, really trying to do here? We got into those areas that you see here kind of on the screen. Hey, I'm trying to get to the cloud is kind of what happened. That was the driver for this that we discovered on that initial call on the other side of that transaction. In addition to getting the core design team, the EMR and everything else, it's like, hey, where are you today? They kind of thought. So that's what started. We started with a cybersecurity checkup to kind of say, okay, hey, I know you got this MSP over here, but let's really take a look at where you are. Adam's going to talk a little bit more about those checkups coming in, but it really kind of, it was kind of that first opportunity on the other side of the ask that really got this part going. It got us engaged in the, hey, where are you right now with staffing? Where are you with compliance? Where are you with your tech refreshes? How about your physical security? So in this, what was seemingly a small staffing opportunity, this customer really did need help. And I think the big part about this is the partner and really the TSC candidly have not really been actively involved in all these opportunities that came about as a result of that initial transaction. I know when I attend and support a lot of the TSD meetings up there, there's a great story. Hey, the average seller does, 1.2, services per customer up there. Hey, there's more out there, kind of thought. So this is a good example of in your customers, there's the open the door conversation to really get in and, obviously deliver on the transaction. But as we're there, this is really a great story about what is in your accounts that's on the other side of things that you may not have been asked about or that you may not see. That's the value of bringing in a service provider like Quest to be able to help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, another thing that we've been hearing, and we want to make sure we're listening, is, hey, what do you guys, the old office space, what do you say you do here?
Can you just tell me one or two things that I should think of you for?
Yeah, I'm very good with people. No. So, what we've tried to do is kind of say, okay, so what are some core services that we can provide and that we can kind of clearly communicate as far as, hey, start here. The large core service is obviously our management capabilities. And these four kind of areas around managed cloud, operations, security, and managed network. Don't need to read the whole slide here to you guys, but basically, can you guys help in Azure, AWS, G Suite, and private cloud instances? Absolutely. We can manage, monitor, support, and deploy cloud assets around the world with all the hyperscalers and deliver that for your clients. Operations, managed operations around end user help desk, actually getting people on site, conference rooms. Probably one of our biggest initial drivers where clients need help is AV conference rooms and managed operations. People need help with people who can actually go on site and get things done. Managed security, very crowded space, a lot of private equity money, a bunch of people in the channel probably trying to get your attention on their shiny widget or their silver bullet around managed security. Been doing that for 30 years. If there's an emergency and you need emergency help, we're probably the most unique in incident response capabilities, but we also touch the physical security layer, access control, video surveillance, vulnerability management. We're going to go into some cool capabilities around vulnerability management here in a little bit that I think is a great door opener for you. And then managed network. Quest Flex as far as delivering on site, delivering as a service, delivering the platform as a service, regardless of what it is. And then tying all of these things together with professional services and consulting. So not everybody knows where they need to start with managed security. Not everybody knows where they need to start with managed cloud. So do we have offerings in this space? Absolutely. But clients don't necessarily know where they're going to start or how they're going to get there. Or when they do select a technology, when you guys help them select whatever, silver bullet they're going to buy, they still need help getting there from a professional services standpoint. So if we're not involved in this piece of the management, but they need help with that, consulting and professional services, that's where, that flexibility is a core service where you can think of Quest to come in and help from a software, licensing, CapEx, OpEx, or delivery standpoint. Now, a little bit more tactical. This is a service, technical on-call support. We've done boot camps on this. We've done training sessions on this. We've evangelized this everywhere we go. This is something, think of it as Uber for engineering, okay? You have your client sets up a very, very simple on-call technical support agreement. It gives them the ability to access Quest's thousands of engineers and resources around the country and globally with these different defined rates where we can schedule resources or provide emergency support, right? So there's emergency rates, there's on-site rates, and there's remote rates. And you can schedule this for your client, with your client, to help them with specific offerings or specific projects they're trying to do. So it can be as simple as a data cabling engineer on site to go hang an AP. It can be all the way up to an incident response resource, an emergency help. It can be helping them migrate from VMware or update their latest Citrix or their SharePoint, whatever it is, across the stack. It's the ability for them to schedule resources to that pain point we saw earlier in the conversation, right? Capability in these organizations to tie their technology together. They need help. technical on-call support is a very, very low bar entry to get engaged with the customer and get engaged in their operations. So every customer we talk to, I don't think there's a customer we've ever talked to that wouldn't take advantage of this.
And Adam, maybe I could chime in here a little bit too. So I know a lot of us get involved in a managed service, a customer looking for a managed service, something or other, right? They've got an incumbent, there's somebody already in there that precedes you. It's very challenging a lot of times to displace internal IT or displace a competitor or displace an incumbent that's in there. A great question that we often ask is, hey, is there anything that you don't have that you need help with? And this, I can't even tell you how many opportunities that we have to slide into what appears to be a non-starter customer to be able to address whatever that small issue is that you're trying to get a hold of. It gets you a foot in the door, and we can really grow out from here. The $1,000 support that Adam talked about, sometimes you don't need a big project. You don't need a giant move of some type of lift heaven and earth to get certain places. They just got some questions or they need some help, remote or on site or whatnot up there. This is the key if it can get you in to those challenging customers, plus the ones who you're working with. This is a great service that customers really do need. For Adam, you're on mute if you're.
Yep. And just one thing that it can start small and it grows very, very quickly. We had an awesome case study where we started out with a small SQL database. I think it was $2,000 engagement, led to a massive still ongoing application development opportunity. So they can start small. A lot of folks looking for help. These are great door openers. The last core service I want to cover is what we're calling our checkup program. So mentioned in the managed security space, we run incident response services. We find that typically organizations get breached from one of these 7 layers of their security, right? So a couple of years ago, we put together a strategy. We're calling it the checkup program. We incorporate this in every single one of our managed service engagements. This is something that's incorporated into our managed service engagements, but we position it as a standalone offering. Very, very low entry. No one's paying their mortgage with this offering, but it gets you involved in the capability conversation around security. It's very, very, it sparks additional conversations around how you can support day 2, how you can help with ongoing, how you can help with fixing it. So they can pick one of these. So they could pick email security, backups, endpoint protection, firewall, IPS configuration. They can pick one of those, and there's a dedicated and defined statement of work. It takes about 3 days. We go through the statement of work. We draft up an executive findings document that tells them how they're doing with their email security, how they're doing with their configuration, areas that they could improve, all right? And our recommendations for next steps. So it gives them an executive summary, a quick snapshot of what they're doing well, areas they can improve, and what we would recommend as a security practitioner as a next step. Now they could do all 5 or all 7 of them for $4,500. So under $5,000, we will look at all of these 7 controls and provide them an executive write-up with recommendations and guidance for next steps. It's a great catalyst. It's a good spark for change, and it's a good way to get a third set of eyes on their environment and let them know, hey, are their backups actually completing? Are they monitoring the jobs? Like, how is that actually configured? Is the endpoint, protection, whether it's, whatever it is, CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, Microsoft Defender, Sophos, don't care what it is, it's software. It needs to be tuned, it needs to be managed, it needs to be patched. Fantastic catalyst conversations for getting that going. Again, leads to good opportunities.
Yeah, and let me, so here's the pivot for a lot of us, right? So all of us have customers up there. Hey, you start a security conversation. Hey, thanks, I'm good. Right. So they've got MSPs, they've got providers, they've got all the tools in the world that's out there. We all have that. For us and for all of you, the next question is key: is how do you know it's working or that it's set up or that it's configured? You don't have to end the conversation when someone gives you the stiff arm. This is a huge, almost no cost, high value, low cost way to get into the conversation. And the output coming out of this is really, it gives you credibility, and it gets you into that conversation to kind of pop the hood and kind of see what else is going on. It's the pivot point that we're all involved with. And this has been a huge door opener for us to continue that conversation that's often challenging. Security is such a big topic. Where do I start? This is a great place to start.
Yep. Thanks, Gary. So now, without further ado, would like to introduce Darcy Baker to go through a little bit more of our Sales Activation Hub. If this is her first time meeting Darcy oversees our marketing communications for the partner program and for Quest as a whole. And Darcy and her team have been putting together some fantastic capabilities and resources for you guys that I'm really excited for her to hop on and share a little bit more about. Darcy?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So excited to be here. I just want to say before I run through this introduction here, I know we talked to a lot of partners. I recognize a lot on this call. I've talked to some of you before in the past. We do want to work with you and help you with your marketing efforts. So we have a lot of tools that we put out here, but we also, we'll hop on a call with you if you have an idea or a strategy that you're thinking about, or you have one of our go-to market playbooks and you want to kind of walk through, best practices for launching it. Just send us an email at marketing@questsys.com. And we'll set up a call and jump on that with you and go through those resources. So we don't want you to feel like here's the resources, good luck, have a nice day. We want to help you with that too. So today we're going to be talking about the new Partner Sales Activation Hub. I believe you'll get all these links in this deck after the call, so don't worry about trying to keep track of all these URLs. But basically what we're working on, and it's a work in progress, so we'll be chipping away at it for a while, is that previous slide that Adam had with the managed service portfolio. We're going to be adding sales activation pages for each of those services on there. And basically these activation launch kits are going to we're going to curate and put all in one place the go-to market books that we've created, any case studies that we may have pertaining to that particular service, any training, whether it be a presentation or a recorded online training session. We'll pull all those training materials together. We have a lot of educational videos and training videos and presentation decks. So all of those assets will be pulled together in one place for each service. We've got many different sales collateral pieces and ebooks that are associated to these services. We also created, and we'll be creating more of these as we go, illustrative use cases in addition to case studies. And so we have 4 for the TOX and 4 for the cybersecurity checkup program so far, but those are basically just scenarios. They're not necessarily case studies, but they're scenarios based on situations that we've dealt with other customers to give you a different idea of how this service is utilized in different industries and for different situations. So there's a main activation hub page. Adam, was that on the other slide, the previous one to this?
Yeah,
Nope.
on the previous slide, the landing page is right under the title there. Yep.
So when you go to that main landing page, you'll have a menu, and this is a good example on this slide. It'll show you'll see a link as we add these. So it'll be the hub for all of the landing pages that we're developing. So, okay, if you go to the next slide. So if you're looking at managed operations, right now we have Tox. So if you click on that link, it's going to take you to this Tox launch kit. And here are all the resources that we've put together thus far that are pertinent to this service that you have access to help you market, sell, or you just have a conversation around this service. So you see we have the go-to-market playbooks, we have those illustrative use case briefs, we've got sales trainings, we have sales briefs. This one only has one ebook, but some of the other ones have several ebooks. And then there's some other additional links below that will get you back to other areas where we have other related resources. So each kit that we launch will bring you to a page, and all these resources are curated together for you. And then we've added a couple quick links to, Gary, I don't remember, do we have a screenshot of the partner portal? We're adding resources on the partner portal as well. To make it easier for everyone to get to these, we've added a couple buttons on our partner page on the main Quest web page that'll take you directly to, we've got a document library where you can find all of these assets in the document library, but the launch kits just bring everything curated together in one. So you have a couple different ways that you can find this stuff. And I think we've got, oh yeah, and then there's the quick link to the partner portal is there as well. Do we have a screenshot of the partner portal, that document tab?
The list was so long of information in there, Darcy. I couldn't get it all on. So thank you. I'm like, can we just get all the stuff in one place?
Well,
and you did. Thank you.
This is a good button that you highlighted here. This button here, if you click it, it'll take you directly to the document library within our portal. So that, I mean, that's the good news there. You don't have to, look in the nav bar, but the document library has different tabs, and it's just different types of content is located on the different tabs. So sales briefs on one tab, case studies on another, illustrative use cases on another, and then there's a tab for ebooks. Also want to let you guys know, it should be uploaded in the 2 launch kits that we have thus far. We're creating templates that you can download and add your own logo and contact information for the different services. So there's a Tox and a cybersecurity checkup sales brief. It's already created for you, professionally done. But there's room for you to drop in your logo, drop in your contact information. If you need help with that, just let us know. We can help with getting that dropped in for you. But those are there. We'll be adding those as we go as well for the different services. And just to kind of help you as you're doing your outreach and you want to send a sales brief that has your information on it. So those templates are there as well to help. That was a lot of information. So
no, thanks, Darcy. That's
any
fantastic.
Questions or any comments?
That's fantastic. Like Darcy said, if you guys have any questions or want to coordinate, a marketing campaign or conversation, marketing@questsys.com, or reach out to the partner team and we'll get you connected up with Darcy if you haven't been yet. But we're pouring into these sales briefs, these activation kits. We want to make it easy. Like you said, there's branding. We can co-logo our Tox briefs and things like that with some of your contact information. So fantastic. Yeah. And it's just under the partner tab at Quest, and very easy to access. So thanks, Darcy.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. All right. So some along those lines and some of that growth that we're seeing in helping the customers, we talk about the transaction and being a trusted advisor, and going in there and kind of bringing in multiple competitive bids and things like that for specific products or specific offerings or specific kind of point solutions. That's a known business model. It's a transactional business model. And what we've found where we do really, really well is when we can kind of move into that trusted architect and solution outcome conversation. Now, people bring us into 3-bid, 4-bid, 5-bid situations. Oftentimes we take those customer calls, and the thing that we're mainly trying to understand with you as the TA is what does the client not have access to? What is the challenge that's not being addressed by maybe those other providers? We recently won a deal with an awesome trusted advisor. We were brought in against, 4 of the major MSPs, MSSPs that you might be aware of. But where we were able to take that deal down and help that customer grow that contract by about 40%, about $15,000 a month, just in this additional service, was they had an existing ITSM platform. So asset management, their ITSM platform was already built in, and they needed a service pod, which is basically an out-tasked organization to manage that ITSM platform for them, in addition to all the other security services. So we went into that traditional competitive, hey, what's your managed firewall cost versus your managed firewall cost? What's your Fortinet certification versus your Fortinet certification? Great. Okay, fun. But what won the deal was the customer had an outcome that they were looking for that kind of allowed us and our TA to differentiate and take the whole thing down. So long-term, 3-year, 5-year contracts, get out of that kind of, short-term kind of concept there is really how we're seeing RTAs succeed. These are ways how we do that. So how do you start that conversation? A lot of folks we're seeing are struggling with governance and compliance. So we have a risk management as a service. We provide managed government and managed governance and vCISO services. So think of it as a security team that helps your client tie into where they need help from a governance perspective. If it's business continuity, if it's DR, if it's a security posture evaluation, we provide those governance teams as a service. So think of it as this is professional services spread out over a 3 to, whatever term the customer is comfortable with, where we can help them with that ongoing management, support, and assistance. Can we do the one-time business continuity plan engagement? Yes, absolutely. But we also have the ability to layer that in as a service, provide that, board level engagement where we'll sit in there and help them as a fractional vCISO or security team. We do it as one-time engagements, or we can schedule it, depending on how they like to do business, as an ongoing engagement. So risk management is a big driver. We're seeing a lot of opportunity there. Now, we made it 44 minutes without saying artificial intelligence. So I think that's kudos for us, but it is everywhere, right? So artificial intelligence is everywhere. Everyone wants to talk about it. A lot of organizations are trying to deal with it. We get involved with organizations oftentimes where they're trying to understand how do they leverage AI tools? How do they leverage their existing cloud services? How do they leverage their existing subscriptions? More often than not, their people are already doing it without them knowing. So if you guys rewind, 15 years, one of the buzzwords out there was shadow IT, shadow spend on AWS, all that kind of stuff. People were spinning up AWS instances without the CIA knowing about it. Same thing is happening in AI, right? So how are people creating governance and controls to deal with that? We've put together a game plan. We've been helping organizations in the middle market and our ICP go through this, evaluate it. You don't want to just turn everything off because, people will revolt. They've kind of gotten used to using AI, but how are you actually managing that and securing it? So if they want to have a conversation around this, we start out with an engagement, usually starts in the $5,000 to $10,000 range to start the consulting engagement, but we have an AI workshop and an AI process that we drop in and help organizations understand this. So depends on the size of the organization, but we've had some really good wins recently helping organizations kind of get their arms around this. So that's kind of AI, the AI talk track, but good. A lot of your clients are dealing with it. So this is one that we've had in place for a while. And it's caught on recently, mainly because so many people are leveraging different software as a service applications. And they're having to figure out who am I doing business with? How are they protecting my data? And then what am I, if someone audits me from an external visibility standpoint, what do I look like? So this is our cyber risk and monitoring and management solution. It's low dollar, but extremely high value for clients that want to get a snapshot of how their insurance providers see them, how their business partners see them, and how their clients see them. This is basically a report card of what they look like to the outside world. And everybody has access to this, the good guys and the bad guys. Okay. And this takes, this is a pretty simple engagement where we can target a couple domains and publicly accessible information. And we can see, hey, these guys are not patched. These guys have very poor API application security. Hey, cool. They got good email security, right? They got a B on email security. They have their up-to-date proof point in place, maybe. Their DDoS resiliency is doing okay. They got Cloudflare or whatever type of DDoS mitigation, right? But this is a snapshot of your customer. So there's a lot of different strategic ways to position this with a client. You can use it proactively. You can walk into a first meeting and show them that they're failing. Wouldn't advise that one. That's probably not the best strategy. But fantastic information that can give them a quick snapshot of what do we look like to the outside world? What's our rating? And then here's a really important one, because everyone's got an ego, myself included. How do you compare to your competitors, right? If a client comes and assesses you versus your competitors, what do you look like? And then with the CF, you're talking to the financial people or someone who's got fiduciary responsibility and is, making sure the money, this is the financial impact of their exposure. And again, $375 a month for up to 3 domains. This is constantly monitored and they get this cyber rating every day. If it changes, they get notified and they can log in and see this snapshot anytime they want. So this is catching on. We're providing this more and more for clients who come to us and say, hey, you're my security. I need you to manage my security. Some clients say, hey, I just want you to manage my firewalls. But if you have a client who comes to us and says, and this is something you got to kind of flush out in conversations, who's responsible for what? And if their expectation is you're my security provider, I need to know if something changes. This is something that we're layering in as a proactive thing that's been really well received. So I love this. This gets me pumped up as far as developing business and developing value for customers. So from a risk monitoring and management standpoint, if you want to talk about this, this is a fantastic door opener to start the conversation. We don't need any access from the customer to do this. Give me their domain, put it on a credit card and we're off and running. So very low bar for entry as far as getting in the door and taking a look at what they got going on. We continue to see cloud migration opportunities. These are big, but not always moving to AWS or Azure. We're seeing some clients kind of refederate and remove, migrate platforms on premise and back to dedicated clouds. So whether it's trying to secure GPUs or NVIDIA assets or those types of things for local instances of run their own kind of private AI cloud, or just getting some of their data and some of their environment back into a dedicated environment, we're seeing organizations migrate, both into hybrid models, public and private only. Fantastic opportunity. A lot of people are struggling with like the SharePoint or the data sharing instances or those types of things, or secure FTPs. Any of those cloud assets when it comes to hosting, sharing data or migrating, really good area for us to kind of to step in and help. The capability reviews, these are, I'm going to jump into the spiffs here in a minute, but we would love to sit down with you or your team and talk about what we can do and areas where we can help. A lot of folks don't necessarily know the different areas for assistance. If you're open to bringing us into a customer conversation, there doesn't have to be a defined opportunity, but if they're willing to sit and have a conversation about what they're trying to do with their business, and then have a capability conversation about how Quest could engage with it, is $250 to you directly for any capability reviews that you set up. So if you set up a capability review with a customer where we can walk through their objectives as well as some areas in our service portfolio that can address it, $250 per. And honestly, we do that because we have a very, very high success rate of transitioning those into mutual opportunities for us to grow our business. So huge opportunity there. We'd love to set up some training directly for you or your teams or anyone who wants to learn more. But if you have customers who are willing to sit down and kind of hear a different approach, we pay for that $250 upon completion. Just a little housekeeping here. The Quick Quest update platform. This comes out every single month from Darcy and Justin and our team. We send our end user communications, and these are all assets that are available to you if you want to use them, re-forward them, repackage them, get any type of this information. So these are our security advisories. So in April, we sent out a Microsoft issue. We sent out a critical vulnerability with Cisco. We sent out some privileged escalation for Windows servers. These are some of our proactive communications. Hey, if you need help with this, here's what we're seeing. But I don't know if you guys are seeing it. We're seeing a spike in ERP planning exercises. So I know a lot of the Great Plains instances and things on premise are going end of life. So a lot of people need help around ERP. But these are end user communications. This is a snapshot of everything we do. If you want to be on this list or you're not getting this, please let your channel manager know, or just shoot us a note at partners@questsys.com, and we'll make sure that you get the Quick Quest updates. Tons of great information here. Now, quick around money. We got a new program. Thanks for hanging with us towards the end of the hour. We got a new program we're putting out there, and we're not taking away the old program. So a quick snapshot around the old program. We had pipeline spiffs, $500 in these three areas: application development, cyber defense suite, or risk management, right? Now, pipeline spiffs, just to clarify, are, hey, we're shoulder to shoulder. You're bringing us in as the partner you think can execute against this opportunity. So that's more along the lines of, hey, you guys have a SQL database issue. Quest has SQL database DBAs. They can come in and help you with this integration. They're my partner. I'm bringing them in. Let's get to work. We also have an opportunity award. And that's for the pipeline. That's for the opportunity when we're coming in as your partner to get it done. If there's 3 or 4 partners you're bringing in, totally cool. We'd love to talk to the client. But yes, we are bribing you for exclusivity. That's the way it works. That's what we want to do. So just being transparent there. On the opportunity awards, new logos. So let's say you bring us in with a couple of buddies to talk about cyber defense services, and we end up winning it, right? New logo spiff of $500 directly to you. If you bring us in exclusively, you get the pipeline spiff plus the new logo spiff, $1,000 directly in your pocket. And then the capability review is also something, $250 directly to you for that. We have a registration page. It's really, really simple on the partner portal. Now, here's the big one. This is new. Really excited about it. It could be huge. So we are putting together a managed services spiff. It's available now through the end of December 2026. It's a one-time MRR for any of these services over here. So we talked about the 4 different managed pillars that we have: managed cloud, managed security, managed network, and managed operations. It's a one-time MRR spiff for that. So if you have any questions about that, or you want to register something, or you want to bring something to the table, it's a spiff on one-time MRR for any new logo managed services that we're putting together with you guys. So we really excited about that one. Could be a huge opportunity. If you want to kind of talk to us about that, please let us know. Here's the schedule we got coming up through the rest of the year. If you're not part of the boot camp series, please sign up for that. We'd love you to join in those sessions. We just finished our first boot camp series of the year. We're jumping into a new one here in June. Going to be 4 sessions, so please sign up for that. Good training around all sorts of different Quest specific capabilities there. Service advisory webinars are coming out as well. And then, it's already summer. We're gonna be hitting that, and then before you know it, we got all the big national events coming up in the late summer, early fall. So, anything else there, Brian, Gary, Ryan, Darcy, that I missed on the team schedule coming up?
Always adding stuff. And I just want to comment, I know several of our partners on this call today have been to several of our boot camps. So speak up if you have any input. I think that several of our partners have been to many of the boot camp webinars. They're just really good for people we hear a lot where people are like, I'm not really sure how to open the door or start the conversation. And Adam, you do such an amazing job with these training sessions of, this is how you get your foot in the door. This is how you start the conversation. I think that they're just really, really, really fantastic.
Excellent. Thanks, Darcy.
Adam, we've got 2 minutes here. Scott had a question on the AI workshops. What is the typical engagement, like cost and time frame on those?
Yeah, typically starts,
on average.
Our most recent one we did for about a 400 user environment. I think we started out with $8,500 for that. It was we have an initial scoping call and discovery. And then we basically bring in resources to audit what their users are doing. Depending on the controls they have in place, we'll leverage their existing controls to get visibility of where their people are going. If they don't have that type of visibility, then we'll have to layer in some of our own tools to do that. But typically it starts around, depending on the size of the organization, between $5,000 to $10,000 to start. And usually it ends up usually being about a month for the first phase.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And Darcy, we've had a couple of requests for a copy of the deck. Can you share this out with all of the attendees?
Yeah, I believe we sent it out after the call. We had some links, and we sent, I think we sent a link to the recorded webinar as well. But yeah, Gary, is this you sent a deck to me a couple days ago. Do you want to just send me the finalized deck as well?
It comes out from Justin, so that will come out with some text with the hot links. There's an e-gift card that's going to be for those in attendance as well. Right. So you cannot escape us. We've got you. We've got your information now, and it's coming at you no matter what you need. So thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
That was a question, Adam.
Great. Fine.
Awesome.
I think we came in on time. Appreciate it. If there are any other questions or anyone wants to hang out for a minute, happy to answer any questions you got. But thank you everyone for spending some time with us today, and we'll get the presentation and the content out to you.
Thanks,
awesome.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye.